Hello everyone. So today we'll be doing coordinate geometry and my name is Mohammad Rafay Sohail. So question 1, what is the slope of the line that passes through points 0, -2 and 3 is to 3, 0? So let's make a graph over here. So this is 0 and 0. So 0 -2 would be this point and 3, 0 would be this point. Now the formula for the line is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Now you take any of the coordinate. So let's take this one as your y2. So 0 minus -2 whole over 3 minus 0. This will be 2 by 3. So the slope of the line would be 2 by 3. Question 2, if the coordinate r, s, t are r0, 0, s7, 0, and t2, 5, what is the sum of the slopes of the three sides of the triangle? Now, let's make a diagram over here or the graph. So r is 0 and 0. So s is 7, 0. And we have t over here, that is 2, 5. Now we need to find out the sum of the slopes and the sum of the slopes. So one thing for sure, the horizontal slope, this slope, that is the horizontal line, the slope would be 0. Now we want to find out this slope. Now this would be a positive slope. So these are the 2 points. So the slope, this slope would be 5 minus 2 divided by 2 minus 0, that is 3 by 2, or we can say 1.5. This would be 5 minus 0 divided by 2 minus 0. So 5 minus 0 divided by 2 minus 0. This would be 5 upon 2. So 5 upon 2 is 2.5. And the slope of this line would be 5 minus 0 divided by 2 minus 7. So this would be 5 whole over minus 5, that is minus 1. So the sum of the slope would be 2.5 plus 0 minus 1, that would be 1.5. Hence option C is correct. Now if A is minus 1 and 1 and B is 3 minus 1 are the endpoints of one side of the square ABCD, what is the area of the square? So again, let's make up the graph. So one coordinate is minus 1 and 1. So this is A. And the other one is 3 minus 1. So this is 3 minus 1. Now this is one side. Now the square would be most probably like this. So if this is your graph, so the square most probably would be like this, a bit diagonal. But one property of a square is that all of the sides are equal. So we need to find out this distance. Now the formula for the distance is under root y2 minus y1 square plus x2 minus x1 square. So minus 1 minus 1, this one, plus 3 minus 1 square. So this would be minus 2 square is 4, and this would be 3 plus 1, 12. So 3 plus 1, 4. 4 4s are 16. So this would be under root 20. So the distance of this side is under root 20. Then this would be under root 20 as well. Now we need to find out the area. So area equals to s square. So under root 20 square equals to 20. So option C is correct. Now, if the area of the circle O above is k pi, what is the value of k? Now, this is 0 and 0. This is 3, 3. So this distance would be your radius. This distance would be your radius. And we know that area equals to pi r square. And this equals to k pi. So k must be equal to r square. So we need to find out the distance between these 2 points. And I've just said that the distance is y2 minus y1 square plus x2 minus x1 square. And there's a rational of coming up with this formula. And basically this formula is driven from Pythagoras theorem. Now I'm just going to give you a small brief. Let's suppose this is 2, 5, and this is 8. This point is 8, 7. So we need to find out this distance. So we need to come up with this h square, because h square equals to a square plus b square. We need to find out this distance. So this distance would be 7 minus 5, that is y2 minus y1. And this distance would be 8 minus 2, that is x2 minus x1. So that's the basic background of this formula. But nevertheless, we have these 2 points. So under root 3 minus 0 square plus 3 minus 0 square, or 9 plus 9 equals to under root 18. So we know that the radius equals to under root 18. So area equals to under root 18 square into pi, or r square pi, or pi r square. So this would be 18 pi. So the k value would be 18, that is option D. Now we have these 2 points. If P is 2 to 1, 2 by 2, 1, and Q is 8, 1 are 2 of the vertices of a rectangle, which of the following could not be another of the vertices? Now let's again come up with the graph. So this is 2, 1, and this is 8, 1. Now this is your one side of a rectangle. Now other points can be 2 and any number, 2x, any number. It can go up, it can go down, and same the case, it can be 8 and any numbers. Let's suppose y. But the constant should be 2 and 1, because this number can be over here. This can also be your rectangle. This can be your rectangle. This can be your rectangle. So 2 and 8 would remain constant. So 2 is there, 8 is there. So it can be, these are the possibilities. Again 2, this is the possibility. 8, again this is the possibility. Now D, this cannot be the possibility. This point cannot be somewhere over here. This cannot be the point, minus 2 and 8, because if this is the point, then we cannot make a rectangle. Now a circle whose center is at 6, 8. So 6, 8 is the center. And passes through origin. So this is your circle, let's suppose, and this is your center, 6, 8. Which of the following point is not on the circle? Now, what will be the radius? The radius would be, so what will be this distance? So this would be 6 minus 0 square plus 8 minus 0 square. That is 36 plus 64 under root 100 equals to 10. Now, each distance from center to the point on the circle, the distance would be 10. So this point would be, so this is your 10. So this would be 6 minus 10 would be what? Minus 4, 8. What will be this point? So horizontally, we are adding your 10. So this would be 16 and 8. So 16 and 8 minus 4 and 8. These are the points. But the most important thing is the distance between the points, the distance between these 2 points needs to be 10. The distance between these 2 points needs to be 10. And we know that the formula for the distance is x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square, or y2 minus y1 square plus x2 minus x1 square. Anyhow, now let's do the maths and try to come up with the distance 10. So this would be what? 12 minus 6 square plus 8 minus 0 square. Now this is under root 100. So the distance is 10. This would be 6 minus 6 raised to power square plus 8 minus 2 square. This is again under root 100. This would be 16 minus 6 square plus 8 minus 8 square. Now 16 minus 6 is again 10. 10 square is under root 100. So this again the distance is 10. So minus 4 minus 6 minus 10 square plus 8 minus 8 square is 0. So again it would be under root 100. Now minus 2 and 12. So minus 2 and 12, and 6 and 8. Now this would be under root 6 minus 2 square plus 8 minus 12 whole square. So 6 minus 2 under root, this is 8. 6 minus 2 is 8, so this would be 64. Plus 8 minus 12 is 4. 4 squares are 16. So 64 plus 16 is under root 80. It is not under root 100. So this cannot be the right answer. So option D is the correct answer, that this will not lie on the edge of the circle. Now question 7 and 8 concerns a parallelogram JKLM whose coordinates are, now these are the coordinates which are given. Now let's come up with the coordinates. So minus 5 and 10, or minus 5 and 2. So let's suppose this is minus 5, this would be 2. So this is minus 5 and 2, this is your J. K is minus 2 and 6. So minus 2, this is your minus 2, this is 6. This is K, minus 2 and 6. L is 5 and 6. So let's suppose this is 5 and 6. So this is your L, 5 and 6. And this is M. This is 2 by 2, 2 is to 2. So this is your parallelogram. We need to find out the area. So area equals to half into height into sum of parallel sides. So let's suppose this is your parallel sides. So this is 6, this is 6, this is x is 5 and x is minus 2. So this horizontal distance would be 7. And this horizontal distance is also 7 because minus 5 and we have 2 over here. So this is 5, this is 2, this is 7. What will be your height? What will be your height? So this is 6, this point is 6, 6, and this is 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. So half into height is 4. Sum of parallel sides would be 14. So 14 twos are 28. So option B is the right answer. Now we need to find out the perimeter. So we know that the two sides are 7, but we don't know the distance of this side. Now again, we can there are different ways you can come up with the slope of this side, but we know that the height is 4. Height is 4. This is minus 2. This x is minus 2, and this is minus 5. So the distance is 3. So 3 squares are 9. 4 squares are 16. So again, Pythagoras theorem: h square equals to 3 square plus 4 square, or h square equals to 25. H equals to 5. So this is your 5. This is also 5. So 7 plus 7 plus 5 plus 5 is 24. So the perimeter of the parallelogram is 24. So option 8, question 8, the answer would be 24. Question 9, if A, B and 1 over A, B are two distinct points, what is the slope of the line that passes through them? So this would be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is B minus B whole over 1 over A minus A. Then this would be 0 over certain number. 0 over certain number is the slope would be 0. So 0 over anything is 0. So option A is correct. Now if C is not equal to 0 and the slope of the line passing through minus CC and 3CA is 1, which of the following is an expression for A in terms of C? Again, slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So this would be A minus C whole over 3C minus C equals to 1. So A minus C whole over 3C plus C equals to 1. So A minus C equals to 4C, A equals to 5C. So the correct option is E. Now M is the slope of one of the diagonals of square. Now let's suppose this is your slope. This is y equals to x. Now over here we have a square. Now this diagonal, now at this point your diagonal would be, the slope of this diagonal would be 1 because y equals to x, the slope of this y equals to x is always 1. But we can have different squares. We can have a square like this. Over here, this diagonal has a gradient of infinity. Over here, this has a gradient of 0. Horizontal line has a gradient of 0. So 0 square cannot be 1, and infinity square obviously is not 1. So we cannot determine, it is impossible to check whether m square equals to 1 or not. Yes, there is one possibility where the diagonal slope is 1. So if 1 square is obviously equals to 1, but there can be other scenarios as well. So we cannot determine which quantity is greater. So option D is correct. So this is a line. Now the point over here is 1 and 1. So this probably the slope of this line would be y equals to x. Now A and B. Now let's suppose A is 5. Then y point would also be 5. So this would be 5 by 5. But we know now it is clearly written, or clearly we can see that the y, that is your B, is smaller than 5. Let's suppose this is 3. Then 5 minus 3 is 2. So quantity A will be a positive number. Yes, if this point was over here, then 5 minus 5 would be 0. But clearly we can see the y is less than what it should be if the point lie on this line. So A and B, let's suppose A is 5, then B according to this line should be 5 as well, but actually this point is lower than this line. So most probably let's assume this B to be 3. Then 5 minus 3 is 2. That is a number that is greater than 0. Hence option A is correct. Now I'm just assuming 5 and 5 and 3. You can assume some other number as well. Now we have two lines over here, L and K. Now just for your explanation, this line is always, the slope of this line is positive. Now slope of this line would be negative. Slope of this line is negative. So one thing for sure, both of these lines have a slope that is negative. Now as the line becomes steeper, so this is L is steeper than K. So the amount, so actually the slope is more. So most probably this would be minus 5 or minus 10. So the slope is increasing, and K slope would be less in terms of number. Now you need to understand this point. Now obviously we know that minus 5 and minus 10, which one is a smaller number? Minus 10 is a smaller number, but over here minus 10 would be actually the steeper, would be a steeper line. So we need to look at the coefficient. Now this line coefficient would be greater than this line coefficient. Let's suppose this line coefficient is 10. But this negative sign indicates that the slope is downward sloping. Now this K line coefficient would be less than 10. Let's suppose it's 5. Actually, it would be less than 5, because if this is minus 3 and 3, then this slope would be minus 1. Then this slope would be less than minus 1. Maybe it is minus 0.5. And this slope would be more, the coefficient would be more than 1. So let's suppose it's minus 10. So minus 0.5 and minus 10. So the slope of line K, now minus 0.5 as a number is greater than minus 10. Then quantity A is greater than quantity B. Option A is correct. The slope of line L is minus 0.8. Now one thing for sure, at this point A is 0. And over here D is 0. Now this is 0 minus B and C minus 0. So this is the slope. So minus B over C. This is equals to minus 0.8. So minus minus cancel. One thing for sure, that because this number is less than 1, C would be greater than B. C would be greater than B. That is the reason the denominator is more than this. That is the reason why we are getting, when we divide B by C, we get a number that is less than 1. So C is greater than B. Hence option A is correct. Now the distance from B5 to C minus 3 is 10. So the formula for distance is this. minus 3 minus 5 square plus c minus b square. This is equals to 10. Now, this would be 64 plus c minus b whole square equals to 100, because we square both sides. So c minus b whole square equals to 100 minus 64, or c minus b whole square equals to 36. So one thing for sure, c minus b should be equal to 6 in order for the distance to be 10. So c minus b should be equal to 6. So yes. So our quantity A and B are equal. So option C is correct. Now we need to do a lot of practice so that you can get a perfect score. Thank you very much, class.